just a little further afield, but we kind of touched on it earlier in the conversation when we talked about immigration, and one of the, certainly in Canada, very true in the United States on university campuses, but one of the follow-ons from the current environment are a level of protest, domestic protests,
yep.
That we haven't seen before. You in the United States have certainly seen it on campuses. We see it on campuses and in downtown Toronto or downtown Ottawa on a regular basis. The protests in Canada and on the university campus in the U.S. are generally about one thing. They're about Israel,
yep.
and they're about the conflict in Gaza. And I know that isn't Homeland necessarily, but it certainly has Homeland implications.
Yeah.
Why don't you bridge that gap for me and how you think about it?
Well, sure. Obviously, the president's got a lot of views on this, and this is, again, one of these issues. I talked about fairness. I talked about sort of common sense that a lot of Americans have, and they see, I'm from Texas, you see a little bit of that in Texas, but you really see it in Columbia, Harvard,
right.
Sort of Northeast schools and California schools, the coast, as we like to say, the coast. And if you're sitting in Dallas, where I grew up, and you're looking at these protests, and you're like, what is going on? Why do these people hate America so much? That's their opinion. That's fine. But do we really let them in the country to espouse for a foreign terrorist organization? And I think that's what President Trump is saying is, particularly if you're if you're in the United States on a student visa, legal permanent resident, what we call an LPR, most of our immigration benefits are just that. They are a benefit. They are not a right. No one in the world has a right to come to the United States. It's a benefit provided by the United States government to people to come in. And if you're a student, you have to adhere to certain standards and requirements of your student visa. No one's ever enforced that. I mean, across Republican and Democrat administrations, no one's ever enforced that. Trump team is now. They're saying, look, you don't have a right to a student visa.
Right.
But if you do come here and we do provide you one, and then you go out on campus and you advocate for a foreign terrorist organization like Hamas, guess what? You don't get to do that in the United States any longer.
Yeah. Here, here.
We're going to deport you.
Here, here.
Yeah. And you can do it back home.
Yeah.
You can do it anywhere else.
Yeah.
And what the left does, and they do this so well, and I get into shouting matches with them. They try to frame this around the First Amendment in the United States, right? Oh, it's a freedom of expression. BS, right? Yeah. I'm all for First Amendment speech, and we have protests every day about every issue you can imagine. There is a point where it crosses a line, and you got to figure out where that line is, and the courts in the U.S. have defined that line. It's why you can't stand up in a room like this and yell fire, right? You will get arrested if there's no fire, right, in the United States. There are limits on that speech, and so when you are espousing the destruction of America, advocating and espousing terrorist views inside the United States, you can't hide behind the First Amendment any longer, is what the Trump team is saying. And I agree with them 100%.
Right.
Yeah.